Hey, what's up, my friends? It's summertime. I hope you are enjoying and take advantage of the great weather and hopefully take some time off from your day-to-day job. Recently, several of the summer interns and some of folks from the LinkedIn connection reached out to me and asked me this question. What do you think about grad school? I'm considering it, but I don't know when should I go for it or should I make the decision at all? And what's the difference between grad school and undergrad? And today in this video, I'm gonna tell you some of the insider tips once I went through all the grad school, graduated, and then stepped into the workforce for several years. And when I look back, do I regret the decision? Do I think it's a good timing? So a little background that right after graduating from the undergrad, I applied for the grad school immediately with some of the summer interns experience, but not too much of the full-time work experience. So that's my path. But different people might have different trajectory and with different backgrounds and their reasons why they chose to do it at certain time. So today I'm only sharing based on my own experience. So definitely leave down the comments below if you have a different trajectory and you are thinking totally differently. Let me know. I'm happy to discuss for sure. And in this video, hopefully you can pick up a few nuggets from the experience I've had, and hopefully this video will help you make your decision and not regretting what you've done or what you've come to a conclusion. On the first section, the most common questions are: first, how do you decide, do you go to grad school or not? And two, if you wanted to go to the grad school, when is the best time? Do I go right after graduation of undergrad, or do I go traveling, explore the world before I commit to a graduate program? And three, do I accumulate some of the work experience and then decide on a niche that of the rationale why you wanted to go to the grad school? Yeah, those are the common questions that you might have come across when you make the decision or in the form of making this decision. You probably heard other people saying this, like applying for the grad school is a marathon, it's not a sprint. It shouldn't be like, oh, I just have this idea and I wanted to go to the grad school overnight. No, it should be a long time of preparation, and you've thought through every single of the steps, including timing, the future prospects of post-graduation, and the money, the tuition, and the ROI, like your return on investments of whether it's worth it to take the grad school. It's different. People have their own scenarios, and a lot of the factors that form your decision could be totally different. But here I'm gonna share you 6 tips of how and when do you need to make the decision of whether or not you go to the grad school. First of all is to know your goals. Whether or not go to grad school could be from 2 trajectories. One, from academic reason, like you really are interested in this subject matter and you wanted to potentially probably be a professor at a college, at a university, and you do need this to put it on your resume and get more qualified for a teaching position, for an academic research perspective. Then before you dive into the grad school path, you really need to do more research on like the supply and demand, the basic economics, like how many people are graduating from the grad school of your subject, your niche, versus how many job openings, including the faculty position, professor position, research, and all the academic roles. You need to balance out, like whether it's a like demand, is larger than supply, or it's the vice versa, and the job market and all that. And the second path, if you are going for the business reason and you just started your career and thinking, or you just graduated from undergrad, congratulations, it's a tough year to graduate, but regardless, now you've done it. And this is the kind of the decision point that you decide whether I dive into the workforce or do I go to grad school. And if it's for business purpose and you really wanted to improve your prospects of landing on a better job, a lot of things share this principle of with the end goal in mind and work backwards. So if your goal is to land a job in like non-academic field in the actual business, in the corporations, then I would suggest you go through the job postings on their website. You might have an ideal company or target dreamy company to work for, and then take a look at their job postings under their career section and clearly see like what are the qualifications they require. Do they require an undergrad graduation is sufficient, or they prefer a master degree or MBA, or any of postgraduate, any degrees other than that? Is that a hard requirement, or it's just nice to have, and more industry experience is more preferred? So that should be your starting point, and then work backwards to see if going to grad school is a necessity for your career trajectory. Tip number 2, before you apply for the grad school, understand the difference between graduate school and undergrad. So in the college, after you graduate from high school, that you might find you have an advisor of guiding you through and which courses to choose and which courses trajectory you're gravitating towards. And there might be some mentors guiding you through the whole journey. But grad school, you might still have some counselor, some advisor to help you through, but the majority of the time that you are the driver of your own academic journey in the grad school, and you might find yourself in the driver's position all the time, including academic and searching career advice from your professor. You might have, say, 7 or 8 courses in the whole semester, but you do want to focus on 1 or 2 courses that you're most interested in, and your dreamy job is in one of those focus areas. So you might want to build up that relationship with your professor. Normally in the grad school, it's a very common case that your professor could be hybriding, like when the days that they're not teaching, they're a successful entrepreneur and then they own a business, or they're on the board of certain corporations, and on the other side they teach at universities and try to kind of teach a lot of the practical skills that they gained from the real world to apply to the classroom, and then help the students to make that transition from the classroom to the real world. So yes, building the connections with the professor is extremely important, and that will help you to get a better adjusting to the workforce once you graduated from grad school. So entering in the grad school with that mindset, with that relationship building mindset, is critical to the success of your graduate school. And tip number 3, this applies not only to be a successful student in the grad school, but also be successful in pretty much any field, of understanding how or what entails to be a successful student. So that could be because you will have so many free time, and you don't have to be at certain point at certain place because of the technology, Zoom class, and also it's your own freedom to choose which course to take on which certain day. So a lot of my classmates used to kind of register the course in certain 2 days of 5 weeks days. So on the other 3 days, how you spend your time, it's really your own call, because you're adult, you can make You can take the responsibilities of your own time, whether you choose to do a part-time job or initially you are doing the MBA program or master's program part-time. So a lot of my classmates, they are already in the business field. They have their own full-time job and they take classes at night. That's very common, and you could find yourself in a mix of a very diverse class. Not only I'm talking about demographic diversity, but also the age diversity and different people in different fields, or they take the graduate class because they wanted to change their career trajectory. So you will have a pool of students that came from different academic background, and everyone is so interesting. So knowing how to be successful in graduate school and coming in early with that in mind is definitely gonna help you succeed. And tip number 4, like many other decisions that you will be making in the later life journey, that choosing whether to attend graduate school also has a factor to bake in, is the return on your investment. Like it's a financial decision as well, because given the years of say 1 year or 2 year or up to I don't know how many years, if you're part-time doing taking classes, it might take years for you to complete the program, and all the costs, if it's not covered by your own company. See, some of the companies do support your full-time employees to take this advantage and improve their skill set and all that, so they might have some financial support for their employee. But if you are your own source, the sole expense source for your own decision, then you're gonna pay for the grad school by yourself, and that's a lot of financial responsibilities, and you do need to think ahead whether it has a good ROI when you graduated from. Does it worth it to take 2 to 3 years versus a salary bump that you hopefully can get? It's not guaranteed, hopefully can get. Number 5, if you do decide that graduate school is something that you wanted to attend and you evaluated the ROI after that decision, then I would say plan ahead, like way ahead. Because a lot of times the graduate school have their own timeline of admission, and then work same thing with the end goal in mind and work backwards to see how many time you need to set aside for yourself to complete the GRE or GMAT for business school and all of those exams to get you a decent score to be able to reach that minimum requirement for a lot of the graduate school. And also, if the application requirements require any of the recommendation letter from your current employer or any of the academic professors in your undergrad, say for example, definitely choose someone that know you very well and can vouch for you for certain of the qualities that the graduate school are looking for. And tip number 6, this might be easier said than done, is whether you decided to take a break after graduating college or find a job and then just experience the whole workforce, the real world working experience, or you decided to apply for the graduate school right away. Like either of the paths is not definite. It's not gonna change your life trajectory drastically that you cannot recover from. So for me, in my experience, I chose graduate school right after graduation, but sometimes I would also think, oh, it would be nice to take some time to travel around the world, explore different lifestyle, and figure out whether a 9-to-5 corporate job is my thing, or do I have a side hustle that's stronger and generating enough income so I can pursue my own job. Because a lot of times you see people quitting on their like full-time job because they realize that a lot of times if you don't work for your dream, then you will have to build other people's dream because they have a clear vision for that. So that could also be your opportunity cost if you decided to go to grad school. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go. I'm just saying like either path has its pros and cons. Definitely evaluate the full picture and choose one that based on your whole analysis, and also stick to that. Don't regret the other paths. Oh, I should have done that. I should have done that. But you never know, because the path you chose is after all your full analysis, and you should be responsible for your own decision like any adult. A lot of the decisions in life, you will need to think through it, and you will be the only person that can make that decision for yourself. And once you make that decision, stick to it, because you can't lie to yourself, and you made that decision solely based on your own. And hopefully that's something you can comfortably saying to yourself once you made your final decision. And plus, if you're young, never think it's a waste of time to choose a certain path, that you can try all paths and then see which one is the final for you and which one works the best for you. So definitely don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you can learn from your mistakes, and all of those lessons you learned from your mistakes will become part of you in the future. All right, a final suggestion before I leave this video is your classmates or the connections, the networking in the grad school is tremendous. Definitely cultivating those in the day one. Anyone you bump into the cafeteria or had a discussion, had a group project with, those could be your potential colleagues, potential boss, or potential direct reports. You never know. In the industry that you chose, it's a small world, and building connections will definitely accelerate your career. And also just by talking to people with different background is fascinating. Like a lot of times I hear people own their own business, and they probably failed several times before they can own a successful company. That's a lot to learn. And yeah, the good connections and the friends you make, the professional connections you made, that's where a lot of people see the true value of attending grad school. I hope all of this will be helpful in helping you make a decision whether you go to the grad school, and if so, when is the best time for you. Happy to hear you sharing your own story or your dilemma down below in the comment box, and I will reply you and encourage you and give you that pep talk that you needed potentially. Okay, we'll see you next time. Good luck in the application process. Or good luck traveling. Take a gap year. Don't be afraid of taking that steps. All right, bye. All right, friends, if you haven't done so, just smash that subscribe button, turn on notification bell, click like, and leave comments below. Thanks for watching. It's Jia here. We'll see you next Friday.